Hey there, Chelsea here with Let's Talk. Today, let's break down quantifiers. So quantifiers are a kind of determiner. We talked about some of the determiners already, both either and neither. Quantifiers, they show us a general quantity, or how much. So nothing specific, but in general, like enough, many, most, several. These all give us a general idea of how much or how many. So I'm sure you already know a lot of them. Today I want to focus on how we can use them in a sentence. So usually when we're just followed by a noun, it's easy. It'll just be the quantifier followed by the noun. I'd like more pie. Pretty basic, right? Quantifier more, and pie is our noun. We can also add an adjective in there. Not just I'd like more pie, but I'd like more cherry pie. Telling us what kind of pie. We're still good here. But when it gets more complicated is when we want to be more specific about that noun. So I'm going to start with the sentence here and say, did you have enough of Mom's cherry pie? So here we have our quantifier enough, but it's followed by of. And this is going to be necessary in a few situations. Notice it's not just cherry pie, it's Mom's cherry pie. Here we have a possessive, and this is what we call a determiner. Determiners can be articles like the or a. They can be possessives or possessive adjectives. They could be demonstratives like this, that, these, those, or they could be both either and neither that we've already talked about. So when we're getting more specific about that noun, using one of these determiners, we have to put in of before it. So let me show you what other determiners could go in here. Did you have enough of just the cherry pie? Instead of just cherry pie in general, we're a little more specific here. The cherry pie that we both know, that we talked about. Here, the is a determiner coming before the noun, so we have to use of. Demonstratives could be in here. Did you have enough of that pie? So I'm telling you exactly which pie, that one. Did you have enough of that pie? That is a demonstrative, which is a determiner. So we have to use of before it. And last example. Did you have enough of both pies? There's a different one here. Both referring to two, so we have to use that plural ending and add of before it. Enough of both pies. So basically, when there's something before the noun that's being more specific about which noun, we'll have to add of before it. Now, this is English, so there are a couple exceptions, of course. All right, when we use the quantifiers all, both, and half, We don't have to use of. We can leave it out, even when we have a determiner after it. So, for example, half the cookies have been eaten. This is fine. We have our article the before cookies. With most other quantifiers, we would need to add of. But with half, it's fine. We can put it in, we can take it out. Half the cookies have been eaten. Half of the cookies have been eaten. They're both fine. All my friends love my cookies. Again, with all, we can do of, we can leave it out. They're both fine. All of my friends love my cookies. I could say both the pies were delicious. Or both of the pies. So with these three, all, both, half, the of is optional. We can leave it out. Another thing to know. If we use a pronoun instead of a noun, we have to use of. All right, so I could say, some of them don't eat meat. Not just some them, it has to be of. Some of them don't eat meat. Or both of us love spicy Indian food. Us is our object pronoun. We gotta use of, both of us. Okay, some of our quantifiers always need of, regardless of the situation. So, quantifiers of a lot, lots, none, plenty. Oh, or if we use a number, 5 or 10 or 1,000. In this case, we have to use of, regardless of what comes after it. So it'll be all of these plus of plus our noun or pronoun or demonstrative plus noun. It'll always use of with those. So a lot of babies enjoy tofu. I do too. Or there are plenty of fish in the sea. That's an idiom you should look up. Okay, last category. So this has to do with the quantifiers few and little. Each of these has two versions. So I could say few, or I could say a few. I could say little, or I could say a little. And there's just a little twist in emphasis when we use the or don't use the So I could say a few people tried the cake versus few people tried the cake. When we use a few, it's kind of a positive meaning. Like, oh yeah, a few people tried the cake. Not a lot, but yeah, you got a few people, nice. But when we say few, it has kind of a negative connotation. Few people tried the cake. So they both mean, just a little, but there's a little bit of a difference in connotation. So the same will go with little. I had a little soup versus I had little soup. So I had a little soup. It's like, oh yeah, you did your best. You tried, good job. I had a little soup. I had little soup is like, ooh, maybe I didn't like it. I had little soup. One bite and that was done. So just a little shift in connotation for these guys. All right, that's all I've got for you today on quantifiers. In the comments, tell me something that you want more of. This is Chelsea telling you again, it's not nerdy being wordy. Let's talk again soon.